Good afternoon, everyone. It is Wednesday, December 17th, and it's 3:06 p.m. And we are starting the county's Committee for Persons with Disabilities. I'm Laura Hansel, Vice Chair, sitting in for our Chair, Carolyn Smith. And why don't we just do brief introductions? Can we start with, I believe we have a member online. Could we start with her, maybe?
Hello, my name is Jessica Kramer. I am appointed by Jim Desmond. I am a person with dynamic disabilities, chronic illness, and some other things, and very passionate about ADA reasonable modifications. So it's great to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Can I go to you, Paul?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Paul Houston with District 4 under Monica Montgomery staff, and I'm here to assist in, policies, procedures that we may better ourselves, our city, community, and society.
Hi there, my name is Brennan Pearson, District 2, and hopeful to advocate and make some significant regional impacts, especially with housing.
Sue Madison, Joel Anderson's District 2 member at large. I'm very passionate about ADA and our basic civil rights for people with disabilities. Yay.
I'm Jeanette White Shelton, District 3, Tara Lawson Reamer, and I am happy to assist in any of these things however I can.
And you do.
Michelle Krug, Monica Montgomery Step, District 4. Yeah, that's it.
And once again, I'm Laura Hansel, Vice Chair, and I am representing District 3 from Tara Lawson Reamer. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Can we have our statement of just cause? Do we have anything there?
Nothing there, except for the fact that I will say that there has been some movement regarding the Brown Act and teleconferencing. So stay tuned in January's meeting. We'll talk more about that. There may be some opportunities that we'll be able to present. But for the item, there's no one that is requesting to participate remotely for emergency or just cause. We do have member Jessica Kramer that is participating via request for modification.
Yeah, thank you, Todd. And that's great news about possible modifications to the Brown Act that would benefit people with disabilities and those advocating for them. Item number 3, we're voting on our November meeting minutes. Hopefully everyone had a chance to review those and detail. Did anyone have anything they saw, any changes needed?
There are some over there, and got to sign in over there in case you didn't.
We'll give it a moment, and I do see, looks like we have somebody, Katie, to come in. On Zoom, sorry. It's just a repeat. All right, if everyone has had a moment to take a look at everything, then we need a motion, if anyone has one, to approve the minutes or a motion to make any edits.
I move to approve the minutes as written.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jeanette, for your motion. You second it. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? And any abstain? Great. The motion passes. We've got our November meeting minutes, and I encourage anyone online to also take a look at those and stay up to date with what we're doing and join us. Agenda item number 4, non-agenda comment. Members of the public may address a county issue and not elsewhere on this agenda. Each speaker may take up to 2 minutes. Speakers may be limited to less time if several speakers have requested to speak on the same issue. The Committee for Persons with Disabilities is prohibited by the Brown Act from acting on or voting on any issue that is not already on the agenda unless deemed to be urgent.
I do see a member of the public, Kimberly. Go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Hi there. I haven't been to one of these committee meetings ever, and I know I only have 2 minutes. It's very hard to address one single topic right now, but I'm here because in encountering some really kind of very serious systemic failures recently of the social welfare system and being actively and urgently failed and persistently unable to gain any upward mobility, despite a great desire to move forward. And
Point of order. Kimberly, we're having trouble hearing you. I don't know if
hey,
you're closer to your mic. If it sounds kind of muted and muffled.
let me
Yeah.
all right. Did that achieve anything for you? Let's see. Is it
That's a little better.
oh goodness. Um hmm. Okay, is this any better?
Keep talking, but I don't believe so.
Oh goodness, I
I
don't
really
know.
want to hear what you have to say, but don't worry,
Yeah,
there's another
no, I don't.
opportunity if we don't work it out.
No, I don't know. I want you to be able to hear me. I'm usually pretty loud, but
There's no issue with the volume. It's just the clarity.
interesting. Okay. Okay. That's unfortunate. Okay, let's see. Did that achieve anything at all whatsoever?
I think that's better, actually.
Hey guys are just telling me that so that you can. All right. So, no, I mean, I would try. I also have a dynamic disability, as well as being on the autism spectrum. And
Kimberly, do you mind if I just try to repeat what you're saying?
no, hang on.
Because I know some of our members are struggling, so I'm going to do my best. But you're saying that you have a dynamic disability and you are on the autism spectrum disorder, I believe you said.
Yes, sure. I feel like I really would like to be heard, and I'm not sure what is keeping. You said there's a muffled. What if it's some sort of background noise?
An option for you, I'm sorry to interrupt, is to type into the chat. Brennan suggested here, possibly.
I mean, I can write down my whole huge info dump of notes, and then you guys can do what you wish with that one. But I did, yeah. And I'd also like to shit. You really can't hear me, huh?
I'm really sorry. We probably need to move on just for now, for a moment. Yeah. But don't worry, we definitely want to hear what you have to say.
I can hear clearly. Jessica speaking.
Yeah, I can hear Jessica well.
I can also hear Kimberly.
Well, we can't, Jessica.
I understand. I'm just saying that maybe it's a connection.
Jessica could summarize.
Jessica, would you like to summarize what you're hearing Kimberly say? Because we're actually hearing you clearly.
I would love to. Kimberly, are you okay with that?
Apparently you can hear me. I'm gonna text my info dump in the chat actually because it's so much. My landlords are trying to evict me, in the weirdest way possible in every single legal age. I've been spending maybe 20. Oh my god, probably I've been up since 8 a.m. and I have been every day for a full month after having the cops weaponized against me for writing a strongly worded letter in the vein of little paste. And I have to leave for TMS at 3:45 or so. So I'm gonna just paste the big info dump, and then yes, you may summarize. It's just that I came to this committee meeting because I might have even left voicemails for some of you because I started looking at grant proposals to find direct lines for people because I'm being gatekept by disability rights. I've called. The stack of notes I have for my situation is unreal. But this is not something I intended to paste directly into a chat. So it's an info dump. and I'm autistic. So in the vein of this is what like basically got the cops called on me. I have no caseworker in mental health care right now because something's caught in this weird endless loop that is legitimately against policy, and like I'm being railroaded urgently, and it's been urgent for a while. But I mean, I've had caseworkers bill managed care. I know that there's recourse, but my whole forest is on fire, including myself, and I can't put it all out. But I've been a good activist in the past for others, and I want to get involved too. I have vascular Ehlers-Danlos, and the UCSD Adult Congenital Heart Disease Program is failing to provide me with any sort of social work. And my parents are narcissists. My family, they're dysfunctional and they're immigrants, so I'm white, but I don't come across as an immigrant. The fact that I'm hyperlexic makes it very hard to access care because people think that I can easily email and continue to self-advocate 24/7, and I'm fighting for my life. So anyway, that's all. Here's my spiel, and I'll listen. I was just hoping maybe someone might be willing to directly intervene at this point, because if I were to go through the list of things, you'd stop believing me.
Hi, Kim. I hate to interrupt you, but in the interest of time, we kind of have to move forward. So,
Can I just give the briefest recap?
yeah. Well, hold on, everyone. Hold on. So this is our non-public comment, and the board actually cannot respond or give any suggestions. That's why I believe one of our board members was talking about putting it through into the chat. So we are bound by the law for California that we can hear you and we can listen to you, but in the public agenda, we actually can't dialogue. So I'm not trying to cut you off, not trying to be rude. That's just what the policy is, not by us. It's set by the state. So I think.
So I would like
We can
Jessica to interpret it, because whenever we have an interpretation, whether it's any language or any difficulty, I have other situations where people have difficulty speaking and it gets voice interpreted, and we give them, the interpreter, the ability just to summarize it, and that's what Jessica's offering.
Before you came in, that's what.
We had agreed.
Yeah. So somebody had said that, so I was kind of like going to move right into that. So thank you for that. So Jessica, if you're there and you can summarize for us so that we can get that pertinent info and then continue on.
Yes. So in short, Kimberly has disabilities. She expressed not having adequate case management. She expressed challenges with housing and law enforcement and accessing services in a rather dire and time-sensitive manner. And she was hoping that she could find some resources for advocacy by connecting with our group, in short.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you.
I do need to, as the Chief Privacy Officer for the county, make sure that everyone is aware that this is being recorded and will be publicly broadcast. So we want to make sure that you're aware when sharing personal information, especially contact information. So we want to make sure that everyone's aware of that. And it's actually advised to not share personal information in this meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. Do we have anybody else that would like to make a public comment that is not found elsewhere on the agenda?
Actually, I do.
Hi, Michelle, go ahead.
Mine is about transportation and MTS. Two major things are that the coaster now, when you take it from San Diego to Oceanside, is stopping, and this has actually been for the last year, is stopping really far, like almost 2 blocks at least, away from where you can buy the tickets and from where you can walk to the station. I don't understand why that is. I'm just mentioning it. And then the second major thing that I'm finding on transportation is that MTS access is limiting, if you live in a poor area of town, like I do in Southeast San Diego, and the buses are limited, they stop at 7 o'clock on the weekend, or at least on Sundays, they will not allow access to for you to book a ride later than that. Whereas in La Jolla and Hillcrest, you can do it at least until midnight. That's all.
Thank you. That's not fun to hear. Do I have anybody else? Anybody online or any board members? Going?
There's member Jessica Kramer.
Jessica.
Hi, so I'm just letting you guys know I have some medical stuff that's unflexible, and so looks like you guys have a full quorum, and I will probably be checking out a little bit before 4. I may be able to come back on because I know it's an important housing meeting today, but just letting you know that I may sign off. Thank you.
Yeah, Jessica, maybe if you do feel better later, you could update us on SB 882, just in our working group, just not to add an agenda item, but just to be that.
Is that a current agenda item or
But
something?
our working session.
I'm sorry, say that again.
We should just mention it, at least in our working discussion. That's all, as a educational point.
Okay, should I bring that up now?
No. I think
Yeah.
she was just saying that, hey, if you could come back when the working session starts, you've got good info for one of the bullet points.
Okay, all right. I'll try to stay dialed into that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Our 2026 legislative program, Mr. Hood.
Yes, so I did send out information regarding the County of San Diego's 2026 legislative program. I wanted to, just for the good of the order, make sure that the committee members are aware of these priority issues. These are the 2026 priority issues as documented in the legislative plan. I'll cite them quickly. Advancing housing solutions, bolstering the behavioral health system, combating climate change and protecting the environment, ensuring safe communities, reducing homelessness, safeguarding the social safety net, and responding to the Tijuana River Valley sewage crisis. So there are more details in the legislative program. I just wanted to point that out. I did send an email as well as sent a couple of voice text recordings of these priority issue documents. So it may be, it's great to see that the committee's focus areas align very closely with the priority issues of the county.
Awesome. Thank you, Todd. Now we are going to agenda item number 6, and we have our fabulous Nick Zabel from the Office of Emergency Services for his presentation today.
Do a quick sound check. Good.
And I'm going to give me a moment to share the presentation.
All right. Good afternoon. I was about to say good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nick Zubel with County of San Diego Emergency Services Office, and I lead the planning, hazard mitigation programs for the county, specifically for the unincorporated areas of the county. But as you know, with disasters, as we will get into, they're regional in some cases. So we work with our partners, our 18 cities and special districts. So this update is on the emergency operations plan and the hazard mitigation plan. I'm going to speak to what's the progress we've made since I last was at the meeting virtually, and how they align, how they work together. But show of hands and virtually, how many have read through the emergency operations plan, the 500-page document?
Part of it, I thought it was hard to get through online.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. And I'm hoping I'm hoping this can also be a discussion if time permits to talk through how we can make it more accessible. So, okay, so just a quick overview. The purpose of this plan, again, is a regional framework for how we coordinate during a large-scale disaster. So think the COVID-19 pandemic, where everyone was impacted regionally. Think the some of the fires that we've had very long ago, Cedar Fire, if you were here. Think the 2011 power outage, if you were local during that time frame. Even the 2024 flood that impacted multiple jurisdictions. So we'd like to look at this plan as kind of serves as servicing the unincorporated areas, but also the 18 cities. So if two or more jurisdictions are impacted, they can request support from the county, and this could activate the plan, as well as many of our special districts. So it includes a basic plan, which is sort of that higher level overview of how we are structured, how we operate within the county and across the operational area. So you might have noted that the plan states operational area emergency operations plan. An operational area, as you know, includes the county, unincorporated, the 18 cities, the 18 federally recognized tribes, and special districts. So everyone that isn't within the jurisdictional boundaries. Within that plan, there's 16 functional annexes, and those are very specific to response agencies and organizational roles. So we'll have a care and shelter annex, there's a evacuation annex, public information, logistics, and it's all regional coordination around those issues. It goes specifically into the what, the responsibilities of those agencies within those annexes, but not necessarily the how. As you know, each department, like CAL FIRE or sheriff, they have their own departmental level plans to assist, and those supplement this plan. And our 18 cities also have their own emergency operation plans too. So those plans need to align with the regional plan. I'll pause there. That was a lot. Any questions on the plan itself?
Hi. Oh.
When you say two, do you mean either two cities or a special district, like a water district and a city, or what does two
Yes,
mean?
two means two or more cities, two or more special districts can request
Or if
support.
it's one city and one special district?
That could be the case. That could be a scenario if there's two or more jurisdictions.
Okay.
Port of San Diego is a right jurisdiction, special district that could activate this plan.
School districts?
Um, School districts within the boundaries of cities, or if they cross some overlap into multiple cities, then that could activate the plan. That's a good question.
I will tell you one thing that I am horrified by, but I'm probably the only person in the county that's home was completely destroyed by Tropical Storm Hillary.
Oh wow, 2023.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lost everything in my house that I've ever owned, and the house is still not put back together because there was a local emergency declared, but that's where it stayed. So there was
Right.
no access to FEMA, Red Cross, or anything like that. And anybody who has homeowners or, home insurance, it will not pay for a complete home devastation when there's no activation. So
Right.
in the future, when it looks like it's a localized issue, because you do focus on the rural, and I'm rural, I'm Lakeside,
Lakeside.
right?
Okay.
And there is zero help, right? And so I'm quite a bit out of pocket, as you can imagine. So when something is localized, especially in the rural area, and we don't have a federal declaration, I could tell you that the folks of East County were absolutely hammered, and insurance is not helping us because we've been maxed out for a long time. And so I've read through your plan as somebody who has written hundreds of COOPs. My PhD in background is in emergency management. So this is my bread and butter with you. Please consider that when something like a tropical storm Hillary, that there has to be something augmented for those that are in the rural county, or San Diego, of course, but a lot of the devastation went to the rural area. And there was nothing for us.
So to repeat back, so like anything that's non-federally declared, what resources are available specifically to the rural communities that are impacted?
In my case, and as somebody who advocates not just for my rural county, but I'm a veteran, right? And so I try to resource anything from Habitat to Humanity, they were not interested. Tunnel to Towers said no because I was not catastrophically wounded. And I can go offline and tell you a whole plethora of folks, but there was zero. And I did work with the county, and the county said, "Hey, I'm sorry, there's no federal disaster declaration. There's nothing we could do for you." Or basically, our hands are pretty tied. And so, yeah. So that was the one thing in this personal disaster plan that, as I was reading through it, I was like, there's no augment, there's no gap, there's no coverage, there's no, hey, in this instance, maybe this can happen.
For that
Nothing.
scenario. Yeah. And then, we have a disaster recovery plan too, which will be going through its own update probably in the next fiscal year. But that's something I'm going to make note of as a potential sort of area to explore is what other resources are available.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to work with you offline.
Yes, yeah. That'd be
Because
great.
I'm not the only veteran. I'm 100% disabled. I was injured in a roadside bombing in Iraq, and nothing helped. So I've had to slog through it, and still my home is maybe 70% completed.
Wow.
So yeah, it's bad.
Sorry, are you done?
Yeah, no, I'm
I want
good.
to interrupt at all.
Sharing.
Had a couple things. So I work in insurance, so I'd love to touch base. And because I didn't have the pleasure yet of reading all 500 pages,
There's still time.
maybe over Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Christmas
Perfect
gift.
bedtime. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I doubt it.
yeah, so I work in commercial. I'm a commercial insurance broker, and typically, for example, there's a certain portion because nobody wants to write a high fire risk area, for example. So there's a portion of all insurance companies, part of their portfolio of accounts that are forced to write high fire areas in California. It's called the California Fair Plan, right? So
Yeah.
It's called the California what?
Fair Plan.
That's what we have.
So I'm thinking like, first of all, maybe we could legislate something like this to, maybe that's something that needs to be touched on by itself. But in addition, regarding in the vein of what you were talking about, you were listing out all kinds of different jurisdictions, annexes, tribal, and I'm like, wow, I would love a list of that, first of all. And then second, I think we need to have some kind of organizational chart. Who has the final say, right? So like if there is some kind of, we have an emergency, we don't want conflict between state, federal, county. We don't want confusion because times like you got to have things go fast. So who's obviously we know fed, state, county, local, whatever, but how does that work with plans? What if there's a state plan that's great, but now you have to activate a federal, all of that.
Yeah.
When that spins up, then everybody who is actually responsible for, electricity, water, this and that, they
different
all come
sections.
together. So,
Yeah, so that's the operational area.
right.
So we organized by Standardized Emergency Management System, if you know, it's through California. It actually came out of the Oakland fires. There was back in the 90s, if anyone's from the Bay Area, there was a challenge with multi-agency coordination. All resources, state, to your point, federal, local, were all showing up on scene at the same time, and they weren't requested. So
what was it called again? Sorry, Dana.
Standardized Emergency Management System, SEMS. Trying to avoid the acronyms here. But that's
Appreciate that.
the structure is basically set up so that the locals, right, all incidents are managed at the local level, right, our first responders, right, and if their resources are exhausted, then that jurisdiction, city of San Diego, for example, will activate their emergency operations center. If they are impacted, like we saw during the 2024 floods, they couldn't meet their resources when it comes to shelter operations. So that actually, they made a request to the operational area, the county, to provide that coordination and support. If the operational area, the region, the county gets overwhelmed or needs additional support, they can reach out directly to the state. And then from the state, it's to the feds, to FEMA. So
It's always a bad idea to have too many resources and people on scene.
Everyone wants to help.
It's a great idea, but for the incident command, it's a nightmare if you have too much.
Right, too many
So
resources.
they try and do it with memorandums of agreement and MOUs and all
mutual aid.
things.
So even our like fire will have their own mutual aid channels, and even law and even public health too. they can actually activate those contracts before even any activation is necessary of the plan too.
And it
So,
would be clear in a scenario like, there's some kind of fire. It would be clear, okay, we're currently at the county level. So based on that plan, we're going to be utilizing schools. Everyone's going to know it's at the county level. So there's no confusion or,
well, if the fire's like within the unincorporated areas,
right.
in the rural areas, then that we could utilize the school as a shelter. That's an option, right? But if the fire's within like a city limits, San Diego, et cetera, then their response agencies are going to, coordinate that response. They'll reach out to us if needed for additional support. So.
And as like if a fire spreads coming into the county or the rural, then it activates those folks. But they typically try and stay out of it. You have partnership, but only when requested.
Yeah, the only scenario, not to get too off topic, is as you know, we have our website, alertsandiego.org. So when you think Alert San Diego, whether you are local or you are a visitor, you think City of San Diego. So if there's a fire, and it's not, it's the entire region. So if we have a fire in city, people will gravitate towards the Alert San Diego website for information. So that's when our office actually will provide that additional support if requested to post information on that fire. If there's a shelter, where is that located? Evacuation areas, if there are evacuations. Yeah.
Nick, do you work at all with Connect? Well, I'm sure you work with them. You'd say yes. But Connect, like for resources and stuff with OES, Cal, the state
Yes,
of access and
I
functional
do.
specific.
Yes, I do specific. Actually, as part of this plan update, we work with that office directly. We do like a consultation. They come in and they go through our plan to see where there's gaps.
They're supposed to. The
Exactly.
accountability factor.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're doing that.
Yeah. We'll do that in the March. I'll show you the timeline, but that's,
Great.
yeah.
So they have a lot of resources, Carolyn. They have a whole library at the state level online. If you wanted to go there, it's too late and $1 short, but they have a huge repertoire. I'm very impressed with what they've created.
Yeah.
And it's not oh, they're better than you or anybody's better than anybody. It's just that we're all better together, is my sense.
They're bringing all those best practices
Yeah,
together.
that's
Yeah.
exactly right.
That's great. No, thank you for bringing that up. And I think there was another point too about the plan. So the plan distribution in the basic plan, it will capture everyone that has been participating in this plan update. So all of our community partners, access and functional needs partners, tribal partners, food system stakeholders. There's a lot. And I one of my new mantras is plans are great, but the planning and engagement are where the magic happens. So we're really trying to make this more of a whole community approach.
Doing table exercises where you roll stuff out.
Yes. Well, so as part of once we complete this update, the next step is to test and validate the plan through an exercise.
You include real people with real disabilities in those table
We
exercises.
welcome that participation.
That
Yeah,
would be very
happy
important
to
me.
discuss that offline too.
too.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a good point.
you have actors pretending, and that's
Sure.
second best, but the real thing is pretty good.
Yeah, you learn a lot more when you have folks who have wheelchairs or anything that mobility issues. It's certainly a different exercise when you
Mobility,
yeah.
cognitive, people that are blind, people that are deaf, those are all huge challenges and very unique. Paul and I were talking about it as we were coming in. All very unique uh, stuff.
We've done shelter exercises in the past where we actually stand up a shelter and have participants.
Yeah.
So that could be an
And
opportunity.
you
Yeah.
do that in collaboration with Red Cross and
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
I thought, well, I was on one once and
Oh, great. Yeah.
the county was at the county building and
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, quick question. Still learning name, Sue, right? Sue, of course.
George.
Let's see. So they do have unique challenges, right? Is there like in that vein, is there a plan specifically for each of those communities, like each of those groups, or is it kind of, is there Because it is a very unique.
We should let Nick present here.
Yeah,
No,
sorry,
Are
Nick.
we on a time? Sort of.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Well, to that question, I mean, with this regional plan, we integrate access and functional needs across the entire plan. So it's touched in every annex, like evacuation, care and shelter. There, as you know, there's a component within each of those plans. So with the timeline, so as you may know, we kicked off the plan in April of this year. I can't believe it's already December. In the fall time, September to November, we did an initial public comment period where we engaged the community and the public to review the plan, the 2022 version of it, and provide feedback. We also sent out a survey. We received 127 responses to that survey. So currently, we're actually going through all of the feedback, and I will be preparing a report of the findings and the feedback themes, and then we will present that report at a public meeting, a virtual public meeting at the end of January.
Where
January.
did you put out that survey?
That was when?
Where?
Oh, where? That was on the San Diego County Engage page.
Mm,
Did you not receive it?
no, but
Okay.
I mean, that's not a lot of replies.
The committee was,
For our office, it is.
he presented to the committee
Yeah.
and then presented the link
Mm.
and the phone number for
Doing it.
if you wanted to call in.
and I just asked, but it just doesn't get a lot of people that are just out there in the community.
Right. It is to your point, only one way of actually getting some feedback, but it's not the only way. We need to, expand upon that. So that meeting will be will be live. That meeting will be on our Engage page, and I will share that link with Todd as we get closer. And then we'll do a final draft public comment period. You'll have another opportunity to see then how the feedback was integrated into the plan and provide that final feedback. We'll integrate that feedback, and then the plan will go before the Unified Disaster Council in June of next year for approval. And then it will go to the Board of Supervisors in September of 2026. Next steps for the emergency operations plan. Again, I will share the information on the upcoming public meeting on January 29th and the final draft public comment period, as well as a link to the website and the plan itself will be provided. And that'll be March. Questions on the emergency operations plan? I'm going to shift over now to another plan.
You go back one slide just for a moment.
Yeah.
So there's the plan validation public meeting on Thursday, January 29th, 2026, I believe. Oh.
Thank you.
6 to 7:30 p.m.
That's
Okay.
great. That's great. Thank you.
Thursday, January 29th. What time?
Starting my holiday too soon. But yes. Thank you for catching that.
Yeah, can we go again?
Sure.
I guess we're a
Yeah,
little
6 to
slow today.
7:30.
Okay.
I'm still in 2025. Okay, so the hazard mitigation plan. This is another regional plan update that we have just kicked off. We've hired a contractor to assist with the update. I like to describe this plan as really the foundation of the emergency operation plan. So it describes what are we planning for. We can't just start developing procedures and respond when we don't know what the hazards are. So what are the risks? What are the threats? And then that helps drive our response priorities, our response framework. And the way this plan is outlined, it's another very large plan. The way it's outlined is there's a hazard profile. So we look at our hazards over the last 5 years. That kind of drives how we rank those hazards. We reflect on the probability of reoccurrence, the magnitude, severity. This time, we're also going to be looking at future projections, right? Climate change, to help sort of drive how these threats could change over time. And then there's also a vulnerability assessment as part of that hazard assessment that looks at, okay, what are the impacts from these hazards? Impacts of commercial property, residential, critical facilities, critical infrastructure within the region. And then it's a building block. Those sections actually build off each other, and we develop and update mitigation projects. So projects that will help mitigate the hazards, right? Mitigate the threats. Plan is updated every 5 years, so we're in the 5-year cycle. And you must have this plan in order to be eligible for state and federal funding, grant funding for hazard mitigation specifically. So we'll look at reviewing the top hazards, the vulnerabilities, and any changes to our mitigation projects, as well as adding new projects if needed for each of the hazards that we identify. The plan includes, similar to the emergency operations plan, a base plan. So that's specifically the threats, the hazards within the unincorporated areas of the county. And then there are 30 planning participant annexes. So we have the 18 cities have their own annex. There are several special districts, primarily water and fire protection districts. And they are focused on the hazards and threats within their jurisdictional boundaries. Questions on the hazard mitigation plan and how it relates? Okay. Thank you. So how you can participate in this update as well. There'll be opportunities in the coming months to provide feedback on the hazards of concern. So we're looking at what are the kinds of hazards that you've experienced personally over the last 5 years? What are some of your concerns about future threats? Are those things we need to consider? That'll inform the hazard assessment within the plan. There'll also be an opportunity to collect your feedback on recommendations for mitigation projects to mitigate those hazards and threats, and that'll inform the mitigation strategy of the plan. And there'll be different ways that we will share that feedback. It'll be through our Engage page website. It'll be through surveys as well as public meetings. So we will be hosting another public workshop. This one will also be virtual. It'll be kind of near end of February, mid-February. So we'll be sharing that date soon, and that'll be another opportunity to learn about this hazard mitigation planning process and how you can participate. And then we'll also have an opportunity once we've updated the plan for you to review it. There'll be a public review draft that'll be posted on our website. Here's a look at the timeline. So there's some overlap, as you can see, with the emergency operations plan. We have the kickoff this month, and then the hazard identification phase will start now and also till the end of February. We'll also host that public workshop. And then we'll do the risk assessment, which will look at what are the vulnerabilities, impacts from those hazards, threats. That's the overlap, January to March. And then we'll move into the springtime, March, April, for our mitigation strategy to look at our past mitigation projects, provide updates on those projects, identify new projects. And then the public review draft comment period will be in August of next year. And then going into January, we'll have a plan of approval adoption by our Board of Supervisors as well as by FEMA. We need to get that FEMA approval. And then each jurisdictional annex will have to go through their city councils for adoption. I do anticipate that January timeline probably to be extended. We're going to probably go for a 6-month grant extension. So these aren't exact months, but it gives you an idea where we are currently in the project.
And you said a
Yep.
grant. Is this a federal grant
Yes.
or is this private? Okay.
A FEMA hazard mitigation grant. And that's my contact information, and I'll open it up for any other questions or discussion.
Nick, what do you do about people who don't drive when you're telling people to get out of an area?
Yeah, that's been a comment that's come up frequently in the comments we received on this plan is what do we do about those that need to evacuate and they're told to go to a public shelter potentially, but they don't have that transportation. So once they're notified, we are looking at different options for providing shelter that's closer proximity to those neighborhoods. That's the same for also like food and water resources. If we were to set up points of distribution, sometimes, as you've seen in the past with some of these fires, the shelters can be pretty far away from the actual fire. From even the evacuated area can be a 2-hour drive in some cases. So we are looking at ways we can better pre-identify sites that are closer so it's easier access for you. How does that address the transportation? So within, for example, our evacuation annex, we talk about transportation planning. We have contracts with MTS, North County Transit, so we can activate those contracts to provide assistance with providing transportation to those in need. And we've done that in the past, specifically to and from shelters.
You know, what I was wondering is in Lakeside, there's over 4,400 veterans just in that 6 square mile space. So have you guys considered doing a contract with VA transportation for like paratransit?
That's I don't know, but I can look into that.
Yeah, because
That's a great recommendation.
I'm sorry. And then my other thing is that VFW Lakeside every month has what's called a Heroes Pantry. They coordinate with local farms, and the farms, gift them produce. So
Wow.
it's already a stand-up thing. So that would be a good partner with you.
What was their name again?
It's the VFW in Lakeside.
BFW. Okay.
The VFW Hall in Lakeside, and it's called the Heroes Pantry. And because it's already stood up with once a month with local and maybe not so local farms,
Mhm.
but that would be a good partnership for co-located for food,
Thank you.
fresh
No,
food
that's
distribution.
that's great. I appreciate that.
Paul, again, and I did hear you say options. I didn't hear any specifics, but what came to my mind was YMCA's,
Right.
churches, um, any other type of senior centers that may be close, those type of things that are right directly in the community, recreation centers, those things, because those are usually close.
Right. No, thank you for that. And so as an example, like we have, as you know, like county parks and rec facilities. So we do utilize those, but there needs to be more engagement with our churches too, especially in those communities. That's a really great. Thank you for that recommendation.
Yeah, and based off of what you said, I know that in Poway and Santee, the Sportsplex, which is very close to the YMCA's, those would be, easy collaborative partnership for anything, even EVAC. Ball field is wide open for tons of EVAC in partnership, of course, with Miramar, and maybe some partnership with the local bases doing medical,
Right.
and whatnot. So I
But a
think,
lot of those you wouldn't be able to do if the point is if there's a fire, the local YMCA is not gonna, you're gonna want to get people away
Right.
the
Yeah.
area. And also just an FYI that even if you made it a community thing, I mean, if it's, a half a mile away, I'm not getting there. So it
Right.
literally would have to have, and there was none of that during COVID, I have to tell you.
Right.
There was none of that of being able to access people. They finally, after 2 months, but I would have been dead if I hadn't been able to find other options. They started bringing food.
Hmm.
But other than that, there was nothing. And every time I would call, it was like, well, you have to get to somewhere else. And it's really critical that you make a list of people and come and get them.
Right. And were you calling 211, San
I
Diego?
called 211, yeah. Many, I did many things,
Yeah.
but that was one
Many.
of them,
Yeah.
yes.
And what's one of the other comments we heard is how do we communicate those resources? Like they're there, but it's not always clear. Like 211 may not have that information at that given time. It's an emergency, but or is the website an option? Well, it depends. If the power's out, then you're not gonna be able to access that. So that's
Or
one,
not everybody has a computer.
right. So not everyone has a phone. So I'm trying to look at the plan now is looking at multiple different sort of avenues for how we share those resources, food, water resources, shelter, etc. And back to the transportation too, like even during the border two fire, we had a couple scenarios that were rather unique where we did provide transportation, but we actually had to use taxis to get people to and from because we weren't going to activate our MTS bus contract for one family. So we're working through like some different scenarios using our P card process to make that happen.
What is a P card?
Purchasing card, county purchasing card, sorry, acronym again.
Hey, quick random thought.
Yeah.
Have you like thought about the satellite? Like, they're starting to do the Elon Musk or whatever. Like they have satellite stuff that can reach internet
Yes,
anywhere. Have you guys thought about contracting?
I've heard about it.
Yeah.
We haven't explored it in depth yet, but I have heard
Yeah.
that that's coming. And
I'm curious what
yeah,
that'd be like to, yeah, contract or
sure.
how much that would
Yeah,
cost for the county if they'd be
yeah,
useful.
that would be.
It needs a lot, a Starlink, so.
Mhm.
that would be a
Nick, a long, long time ago, there was an emphasis, it was about 2008, when sort of this emergency planning was gearing up, and I was at the city. And we had meetings regularly with 211, OES, the county, the city, and it was good, I think, because it was once a month and it was very, I mean, and people came. And the ideal is when they come and they have the authority to implement. But that's not always the case, which is too bad. But 211 got better, I think. And there was an access and functional need link actually established on 211. And it gave a lot of information because that was sort of, again, just the time and the people, it just kind of came together. I remain concerned also just on the side about 211 and how the community can work better to improve that, because it's pivotal, that information piece flowing out.
Right.
So you need good people at the top to orchestrate. Then you need to funnel down stuff, to us out
Right.
here going, geez, I need a ride. And I can't use a taxi cab because I have a wheelchair and I need a wheelchair lift van. And the concept of getting that, I mean, I remain concerned and about the obligation that people think they're going to be okay and somebody's going to come and get them.
Hmm.
And I think that the messaging here is critical, Nick, because we need to have the resources, have people who understand how to access the authority to say, okay, let's pull this, it's time. Because that's when the individual tragedies happen. Usually not big, like the massive thing in LA, certainly can be.
Sure.
It's more individuals that were like, well, I tried this and I tried that, and my neighbor's gone and I'm here by myself, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's,
we want to help you with that.
and I need all the help.
So
So I'm here to learn. Yeah,
I think that just talking and collaborating
Yeah.
together is critical.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
all I want to reiterate.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. It's part of one of our protocols is when there is an emergency, whether big or small, we do engage 211 to share what information we can that they can then share with the community. But there's always something else we should be sharing, right? So to your point, and that I think that's where we can maybe close that gap is identifying from your experience what those resources are, so that
Exactly
then
right.
then we can share. Yeah.
That's exactly right. We want to know the gaps.
And we have member Jessica Kramer with her hand up. Go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I really want to echo what Sue mentioned about managing expectations with 211. With my experience through the homeless system, 211 is often heavily relied on, and people are told, "Oh, call 211," and it can actually be very traumatic for people when they believe that they're calling 211 and they do have that expectation they're going to get help. And 211 is great in many ways, but one of the challenges 211 faces is they rely on the resources the agencies that have their agencies listed and what resources they have available, they rely on those agencies to tell 211 when a service has changed or is no longer available. And it's not very effective. And so I've also experienced, as Sue, that when groups are brought together and people with decision making are meeting with 211 and helping keep those resources relevant, 211 responds very well. But we just need to be very careful. When I listened to the plan, I heard many, many times referring to 211. And I think it's important to have some kind of disclaimer on there to manage people's expectations, and also would love to continue to work with 211. One of the things that I do very well is auditing. So I call and I get resources, and then I call those resource lists and I find out what is still available, what never was available, and report back to 211 or the whoever is managing a list, and let them know what's changed. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'm going to echo that because when I lost my house, 211 was my first call, and 3/4 of the resources that they had given me, calling the resource partner, there is no avenue of approach for them to help. And they didn't really quite understand why I was calling them for the needs that I had. So really disenfranchised me as somebody who was already completely overwhelmed with, thousands of gallons of water pouring into her roof, into her house. So yeah, disclaimer would be a good idea.
Laura Hansel here. This is an excellent point, and I also want to echo that I've had similar experiences having expectations when you call 211 and maybe somebody is in crisis, they're expecting help and there's nothing there, and just really how detrimental that can be. So I think these are really important points, and thanks for sharing them.
Oh, real quick before I put my hand down, I did notice a couple references to the Access and Crisis line. The Access and Crisis line, I actually find amazing for resources. I use them often when I'm advocating for myself or for somebody else. So I would like to see them highlighted a little bit more within reason, but also important that you can dial 988 to get to the Access and Crisis line.
I second that. I think
Thank you.
access and
Yeah.
crisis is incredible.
Isn't that for mental health crises?
Yeah, it's for anybody with behavioral health needs, anybody who is, feeling stressed and strained and needs to speak to somebody. It's for more than just suicide. It's not necessarily for a super healthy person who's not having issues or isn't advocating for somebody. It is a little bit more for somebody vulnerable who's having a challenge that could affect their mental health. So I want to be a little more inclusive than just it's for somebody who's in a suicidal crisis or, in a behavioral health crisis. It is used. It can be used for more than that. But yes, it's not just for the average public looking for a resource. Thank you for clarifying.
That's why I was checking. It's not for me to be able to get out of a situation
I think
if there's a fire, or it's not going to get me food, or
they do have connections though to community resource. They can refer, I think they can, like substance abuse, and then like if you're looking for therapy, they can provide those kind of, but
Referrals, yeah.
but yeah, I echo what she had said.
Jessica.
Jessica, yeah. Sorry, Jessica. But yeah, I agree. Super great.
Yeah, they more have trained people or who's you're calling into to give a quick an assessment of what you need
Oh,
on
wow.
that crisis. It's more what they do and then get you to the right people based on the crisis.
So another crisis thing, I want to make sure that, again, the issue of not being able to get somewhere. I'm trying to, I just blanked what it was that I was in another situation where, oh yeah, the heat. And that's going to get worse. The heat, when they tell me, oh, there's all these, what are they called?
Cooling centers.
Cooling centers. That does not help me when I can't get there. And then they said, oh, and we have these fans. Well, they want you to prove that you make this much income or whatever, and they're not delivering the fan. And I mean, it was just like one thing after another. It's like, that is not like legit, let me help the community. But especially being able to get to the cooling centers.
The access piece of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and to go off of that is on the veteran standpoint, if you're 100% disabled, your disability paycheck puts you over the threshold for receiving any of those services. So inside of what you're doing, make sure that you guys understand that by no fault of the veteran who, whatever the injury is, they don't apply, they don't qualify. Zero.
I know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you for the feedback. This is just the beginning. So looking forward to working with you to
We love having you here.
Could you also speak to the AFN advisory group? Is that
the
still?
county's working group.
Yeah.
What is AFN?
Armed Forces Network. No,
Yeah,
Oh.
Access and Functional Needs Working Group.
it is Armed Forces Network.
It is still active, but it's going through, our office is going through some reorganization of assignments. And so no, nothing suspicious. Just we have new leadership. So that's the reason behind it. So with that, there may be a new person assigned to that role as a liaison. I have a touch point, and of course, because of the plans. So I've engaged with that group as well. Traditionally, it's been, at least this year, it's been more county department liaisons than encompassing the AFN community. So that's a gap right now. We need to engage other partners.
Do you need a veteran with PhD? With a
100%.
background in emergency management?
100%.
Yeah, I'm ready
Yeah.
to come back.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you if we could stray into we had a meeting last time about about evacuation, emergency evacuation. Just an internal meeting with us based on what we'd researched. And I think that it's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm really serious about our committee collaborating with you on specific things. And we want to know what the gaps are.
Right.
So we can then present that to anybody that might have influence. Since the members are appointed by the Board of Supervisors, not to go over your head or anything, just a sense of we're better together.
100%.
So I would really encourage you to let us know barriers and gaps and needs, and then our ability to advise because of us with lived experiences or other groups in the county that we're aware of, other organizations. I think that I think we could really make a bigger impact. And I would really like it if you want to just plant that in your little head. And yeah,
No, I welcome the support. Yeah, and the collaboration. So,
that we really are better together.
yep.
And we did something in the last year at the Live Well conference. It was great. And we let other people know about what we were doing with the attorney's office and the sheriff's office on specific things. Worked great. It worked really, really well. And I think it's exactly what the community needs personally.
Maybe on that thought, maybe considering doing, I don't know if you've seen the video with DA Summer Steffens and this board, and we can send you a link to it, but
Yes,
maybe
please. Yeah.
crafting another video like that about emergency preparedness for the disabled community of the county. And maybe that would be a good partnership for you guys to put out a video for folks with lived experiences, and you can kind of base it off of what the DA's office and this board worked on. So that'd be a good idea.
Well, I don't think FEMA's as active as they used to be, But I know that the Cal OES, the office from the governor's office for access and functional needs, Vance Taylor,
Yes.
we could have, I think we could have a bigger event with like nonprofits that serve people with disabilities, us, you, just do a extravaganza, really. Because I think there's a lot of, I won't name names. I think there are lots of people in the disability community that are not focused on this. And there's always a lot of issues. But if you got to get out of your house because the neighborhood's in fire, that's pretty strong. And as Red Cross used to say, you're meeting people on their worst day ever. So that takes precedence. I can't carry a message about civil rights for people with disabilities if I'm not living.
Thank you.
Make it happen, Nick.
All right. Do you have?
Nick, that's a good point. Are there, what broad community activities are there that focus on emergency preparedness, emergency planning that's out in the community? I know we've got CERT,
Yeah,
those
yeah,
types
there's
of
one of them.
things. Is there like an emergency prepare? I know that we have the shakeout, the great shakeout.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah, I mean, as requested, there are emergency preparedness trainings that are offered for that serve access and functional needs communities. Is there something that's standardized and that's on a regular schedule? Not to my knowledge, but that is potentially one of the gaps.
You know,
Building out that schedule.
what I also noticed is that I have FEMA certs, and if you go into FEMA and you can get your 100 iOS and all those
Yeah.
different certs, right? You realize they don't have access and functional needs certs at all.
It's
Zero.
true. Yeah.
Right? And I have almost every FEMA cert, and
Nothing that's
and
specific.
Sue said that, it didn't dawn on me that they don't FEMA. So at the top level, they don't have cert for that.
Right.
So that would be a great opportunity for
Wonder.
us to,
Yeah. And even you can reach out to Vance to see what kind of training that they offer, recommend.
Really good.
They're pretty
Yeah,
robust.
they're
Yeah.
good. I've been to their 2-day, and every summer they have a whole big thing on access and functional needs with people from all over the United States. There are, it's the trainings that I know of for access and functional needs are through CERT. And they'll do the AFN one.
Yep.
And they've been doing a lot of trainings, but it's only upon request.
Yeah, with East County CERT, Teresa Greenhall, who I just spoke to today. Yeah, she was mentioning
And OES.
Nick Tomlinson, who's now with the city of Escondido.
Okay.
But he's still a great asset.
Yeah.
So
So, that's a good one.
and Vance is and his team will, as I mentioned, will be reviewing the emergency operations plan. So it'll be great to get their perspective.
And then the committee has been working on and has input for the personal disaster plan. And I don't know if, while we have Nick here, if you wanted to move into the strategic focus session for the working session for emergency preparedness, and then share some of the perspectives that you might have.
Yeah, I would say yes, but in the interest of time, I would almost say if we do that, we're not going to get through this agenda. So
perhaps we have recommendations we could give you in writing, and Laura could send those to you.
Sure.
Laura spent a lot of time reviewing that, because that's what we went through with the committee.
That'd be great.
And so we had with some ideas. So can we do that then?
Yep.
Yeah, Laura here. So what I was thinking is that going through the last meeting and putting together a list of what our suggestions are, where we see there's possibly gaps, I think it'd be great for committee members to be able to have a chance to review that in January, perhaps, and then send it more formally. Sue had also suggested us doing some other work to reach out to the Office of Emergency Preparedness, find out some other things. But I think we do have a pretty good running list of some items that we'd like to share. And so putting that into like a brief memo format.
Yeah, because we got at least 3 or 4 pages.
Well,
So-
yeah, we welcome the
So,
feedback, so.
yeah, so it kind of goes back to the interest of time today. Everybody kind of agree on that one? Yep. So that everybody can have some input? Okay.
Yeah, I'll just add, it does seem like a major gap is workshopping the preparedness that we have resources out there. People don't know what they are, but some sort of way to incentivize people actually taking action to prepare in ways we might creatively do that. Because it's actually a huge savings to the county when people are prepared. It's a huge tax savings. It's more than that, but money matters. So we'd love to continue the conversation.
All right. Well, if anybody going once, going twice, thank you so much. Merry
Thank you for the
Christmas.
conversation. Appreciate it.
And
Thanks, Nick.
we all look forward to working with you. You're fantastic.
Likewise.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
appreciate you. You're the best, Nick. Oh, we have cookies. Take cookies. All right. So thank you for everyone's input. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start on our working session. And real quick, we'll reiterate our strategic focus areas that were voted on quite a while ago. We have, please hold, please hold. What's that? Oh, look at you. You already have it open.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Okay. Yeah.
The first topic on the agenda is emergency preparedness, public safety. Then there's transportation accessibility, and then housing and behavioral health services.
I thought we were supposed to focus on housing today.
We are. I said, just as I was saying that to Laura, you said that. So obviously for those who didn't know, our focus areas are emergency preparedness, public safety, transportation accessibility, housing accessibility, and then behavioral health services and crisis stabilization. So last time we worked pretty diligently on emergency preparedness, and today we're going to look into housing. And I'll just predicate it off of our strategic focus. Housing accessibility, for how this board is going to look at it. The activity for us is to ensure that housing programs are accessible and inclusive for individuals with disabilities, enabling them to fully participate in society and live independently. Methodology is a review transitional housing programs to ensure they accommodate a wide range of disabilities, including physical, cognitive, and sensory disabilities. Focus should be on assessing new housing projects, ensuring they meet accessibility standards. So our strategic focus for 2025 year is and was to advocate for disability-friendly designs, universal design and housing programs such as accessible units, and appropriate modifications and accommodations. We crafted a list of needs identified. The first one was more accessible and affordable housing units, and inside of that was to advocate for grant money for housing for people with disabilities, include East County in the county's climate equity index map for housing, offer more smaller individual units for homeless people, and look at lowering barriers in existing houses. In addition, to educate providers on the need for housing for people with disabilities, promote universal design versus people with disabilities being an afterthought, provide clarity on county's voluntary service dog registration for owners, landlords, and program administrators, plan for emergencies and evacuation procedures for people with disabilities, ensure every qualified individual with a disability has a file, county contractors, with an ADA interactive plan listing effective modifications. Under that, it's to conduct compliance audits for accountability, budget equity for disability supports, and so you have that. And inside of this, last time what we did for transportation is we kind of did a sticky event and everybody wrote down what is grinding your gear in housing accessibility. What is it that you, in your lived experience, already know is a gap that we can explore and then push that into 2026 so that we can expand on what the issue is, because this housing issue is not going away.
I'm happy we're finally here. Emergency isn't my most exciting aspiration, but I respect everyone.
Fine, but I get you.
No, I respect it. I totally. So I have so much to say here. I'd love to, help as much as possible. I'm partnered with the San Diego Regional Center. I help them like with referrals for new facilities and existing facilities that need commercial insurance and risk management I have a meeting coming up with the director of like community services, and something that you had mentioned in that paragraph was like the development of more housing. I guess there's so much here. It's like first classifying the type of disability and the accommodations that they need, like based on physical, cognitive, sensory. The regional center is just for adults with developmental disabilities, like 18 to 59. Anything over 59.
The regional center, isn't that for kids?
No,
I think they have some children.
They are.
the kids, because you have to have a childhood disability.
Yes.
Yeah.
A developmental or intellectual
Mhm.
disability. So, but then they grow up and they're still served.
Yeah, the majority of the homes are like 18 to 59. Yeah. After 59, I think it's like RCF, residential care for the elderly, or kind of depends. But yeah, love to. Any questions?
So where's the gap? So this seems to be your wheelhouse. I'm sure, I know there's a lot of other people on the board that have this in their wheelhouse. It is not mine, so.
I'd say like first, like we have to find it's I think it's like find the pain points for each type. So there's memory care homes, there's group homes for adults with developmental disabilities. I know nothing about blind or deaf or any other type of. I've basically just done the ARFs, adult residential facilities. There's a lot.
Can I just put something in from the very beginning when you were reading through that? To me, the first thing we need to do is go back to marrying affordable with accessible, because we've lost that. And there's a whole lot of housing bond money specifically for affordable housing. Nothing says anything about making it accessible at the same time. And I think that needs to be a great priority, making it, even if it was a minimum, like new development projects are supposed to have 20%. Well, now it's down to 10% affordable anywhere, wherever they're built, at least in the city of San Diego. I can't speak for the county, but we need to be advocating that anything that is being built with money, with public money for or public benefits, that is affordable, also needs to be at least a percentage wise, but I would love it to be 100% accessible. But I think we need to be pushing that it get married, because it used to be. It used to be you never heard the word affordable without accessible. And we've lost that. I'm sorry, I got to start
No,
with
that's
that.
The great
No.
point,
Yeah,
Michelle.
that's-
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
And when I spoke to a staff person from the county housing who approached me after our workshop at Livewell, she talked about housing and working on it. She's land use development stuff. And I said, yes, you may have presented to our committee. I hadn't remembered. And then I said, I think we're going to be doing that soon, but I know that we weren't having speakers coming in. And I said, Director Todd, and I said, we would love to work with you. And I said the same exact thing, and I believe I said it when they were here. I want to have affordable, accessible. And there's no reason why they can't make it accessible front end. Um, and that involves the universal design suggestion we had.
Yep.
But I echo that, Michelle, and that's my number one big, huge gap that I don't
Yeah,
see
thank
that
you.
language from the county. I see senior housing, and I looked at that last supervisor meeting, and I spent an hour and 15 minutes listening until they got to the questions, and then they went into public comment, and I turned it off. But
Same.
it was a 3-hour meeting. So people have a lot of stuff around housing, as they should, for God's sakes.
I also watched, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So anyway, I want to see again, affordable, accessible, all in one term, because they've now released, by the way, 57,000 units that could be developed for housing in unincorporated areas. And that was a major breakthrough. And the supervisors talked about that a lot because that's a biggie. So anyway, I'm done.
Yeah, this is Jessica. Is now a good time to speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So when I hear that list, it's so big, it just feels vastly unattainable. I'd like to see us be shrinking it down to like 3 specific items. I echo the marrying accessible with affordable. But one thing I'm really hearing from that list is that it's missing the mark on our county's housing and homeless crisis. And I feel like there are urgent, immediate problems for people with disabilities who are housed already, who are losing their housing because their disabilities are not accommodated, because they lack appropriate case management, because they don't have proper legal advocacy. Both legal aid and disability rights are completely overwhelmed. It's very difficult to get help from them. In fact, with legal aid, the only support you're going to get from them right now with housing is if you have an actual eviction notice, which is amazing because people do need help with that. But what I hear in that list, being somebody who's been homeless, was homeless for 15 months until a month ago because of mold uninhabitability and failures of the system to support me. We're just deeply missing the mark on our urgent and immediate crisis. I spoke of the emergency housing voucher being canceled by the federal administration. Those are, very much so households with disabilities. As of fall of this next year, they'll be put out on the streets. Our county does not have an ADA interactive process for people that have housing vouchers through the county housing authority. It's really bad, like right here, right now. And I'd like us to be addressing those issues more so than trying to change the entire housing nightmare, legal, political problems that are happening. Thank you.
So let's do it this way. That brings up a good opportunity to give us 3 start points. So Jessica, what would be your understanding that, the end goal is to potentially, after discussion, whatnot, provide recommendation to the board of supervisors. Let's drill down into what is an immediate gap that this board can work on. And that question's open to anybody, because this is how we drill down transportation. So this is a little bit different how we're drilling it down, but it's still the same end result. So let's get today, if we can, we don't have much time, but let's get 3 critical needs for this topic.
Just to clarify, maybe some framework, like just to clarify, are we, because I know an additional section was to advocate for like for homeless and more just affordable housing in general, maybe not related to disability, and then affordable housing for disability, and then a lot of the, like for the group homes, for example, adults with developmental disabilities get their rent paid for. So trying to find the groups that don't, the disabilities that don't get money, maybe, and find out, okay, what's going on there? Like, why aren't they getting money? What's the qualification? Where's
It's a huge federal political. I mean, the reason that people with developmental disabilities have what they have, which is a lot of financial backing from the federal and from the state, historically from the feds, I don't know future, is because parents were real strong advocates in the 50s and their kids were being put in institutions, which was just horrific.
right?
So there was a huge outcry, rightfully so. But people like me that grew up and got rheumatoid at 6, I don't get crap. So,
Right.
it is a good logical question, and I don't think we can go there. I would say vote on it.
Yeah, maybe, like I'm just trying to think. Let's focus in on like what population specifically
Well,
needs this.
there's a lot of people that are poor
Mhm.
on the street. Certainly substance abuse, behavioral health issues,
Mhm.
lots of veterans, as we know. It's not a mystery who is homeless.
I
But
think for the county to, again, look at the affordability and accessibility. Right now, we have very few options of things that are accessible, even on the regular market rate. So I think emphasizing that anything that's getting county money should be accessible or at least able to be changed into accessible. I remember in the city, there used to be 3 different levels of accessibility. One was when you're living in it. Another one is if you're visiting it. So that at least the bathroom was accessible, had enough room to move around. But all of them can be done with little things like, for example, when you're putting in the wiring in construction, they could be mandated to put in 2 wires. So you always have audio and you have the visual for a fire alarm, for example. Because if you do it during construction, it's literally like less than 5 cents. Whereas when you have to change that out, it's hundreds of dollars. So it's that kind of emphasis on at least making it, I don't remember what the words are, I can get them, but there were 3 different levels. Like if you were in a doctor's office, it had to have a certain amount of accessibility, but not the same as if you're living in it or if you're just visiting.
And they did that, I think, for like certain kind of bathrooms, or they did something. So that's definitely possible.
Yeah, they started.
Something. Yeah, they I remember that. So yeah, that's totally maybe yeah, focusing on
Then asking if you needed
Yes.
a disability.
Sue. Sue.
it's universal design is a general word for, you know, so there's no step entryway. When they talked about visitability, it meant if you could not put a step where you go into the door, that means I can come over and visit you. I don't get to do that very much.
Hey, Sue. I'm curious. What do you think would be most valuable for immediate fix? Like development takes a long time.
Along
Do you think
the board
utilizing?
they're aware of that,
Mhm.
and they talked about speeding it up, and certainly the city of San Diego as well. The county does have a blueprint, which I learned about on the thing, the recording, and I printed it out and I read it all, and I digested it thoroughly, of course, and
Mhm.
they're very aware of funding and trying to find new funding. I think you'd like the read. by the way, the blueprint if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'll try it. And what do you think about utilizing current? Like if we needed a fix tomorrow, I'm curious, what do you think? Like trying to utilize Airbnbs where the county, so there's some kind of funding to pay for, I don't know, like what do you think would be?
To fast track development, a lot of times it's just a priority. And it's working with the development staff, the planners, that kind of thing. But, and then they talked about another barrier for the county is vehicle mileage, because they don't want to build a bunch of new houses out in the middle of nowhere, like i.e. unincorporated, because you drive then a lot, which is very bad for the environment. So they zap those. And then they have in lieu fees, which I think
supervisors don't like.
they don't like it. Because what they do, the developers pay fees and then they don't have to make it affordable.
Right, the in lieu. I hate the in lieu.
In lieu fees.
It's almost like a carbon offset, right? You're really not actually offsetting your carbon. You're just paying a fee so that your on the books carbon numbers go down.
Yep.
But your carbon numbers stay the same.
So I
Yeah.
think that's,
Yeah. Right. So that lens, it goes back to my question is that our focus, of course, is not just to help, our partners, but recommendations. So what is one that, under, let's take affordable and accessible,
I just wanted to say, I think saying the affordable and accessible is a big chunk to bite.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we need to really think a lot about other things. I think that can expand into other things. I think too, I watched the Board of Supervisors also, and it was a presentation that I understood part of.
right.
But the word accessible was not used once.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I watched probably the first two presentations that were very well organized in public comment. There was 3 people in each and they had a whole presentation ready. They also, just as a side note, they also mentioned ADUs as being part of the housing stock that they count. And I would be very curious to know, I know of no ADUs that are being rented out. They're just, in my area at least, it's just a way for somebody to get 800 extra square feet on their 5,000 square foot house.
Moves in. So it's not
It doesn't helping the housing stock.
Not helping.
I will tell you that when my insurance company tried to find housing for me because my house within days grew a lot of mold, that they tried to put me in an ADU on a property in Chula Vista with a man that lived in the house, and I was going to live in his backyard in his ADU, and I tried to explain to them that wasn't really a safe thing. And then they said, oh, okay, well, he'll live out in the ADU and you live in his house. And I'm like, it's still a random guy and I'm still a single female. This seems like I'm going to end up on Dateline somehow, and I really don't want to do that. So they are using ADUs for housing, at least for what the insurance guy sees. So they are, but I also will say that out in Ramona, they actually have a tiny house community on Black Canyon Road. Yeah. And it's really cool. I drive there when I go hiking. So does everybody think that if we crunch down housing into looking at affordable and accessible, that way we can kind of, well, you keep saying that's a lot, so we need to have something to look at.
Can I add? I was just thinking, well, we could do warehouses, make something, and then it's like, oh, but then it's temporary. Then it's kind of like Jewish Family Service, the safe parking lot. What's the purpose? I think, what do we want to think short term or long term? Maybe that's what, in addition to affordable and accessible, we think
Maybe we
Perfect.
can do half and half. Maybe we can do half long-term with the accessibility concerns we've been discussing, and maybe half like immediate issues like the emergency housing vouchers for people with disabilities and those people basically being put out on the streets instead of being prioritized on lists for something like permanent supportive housing, which is it's not a project-based voucher like HUD. It's something separate called permanent supportive housing, and that is for people with disabilities, seniors, and there's maybe some other vulnerabilities in there, but you essentially get an apartment assigned to you with supportive services, and then you maintain that residence for the rest of your life. But I'd like us to be doing something about addressing the immediate issue of the EHV vouchers being terminated and the county sending out letters and having social workers calling the recipients to let them know that as of fall of next year, their housing payments will stop from the county housing authority, but not providing any kind of individualized case management to help people find an alternative or get into a different type of long-term housing support model. I personally work with people that are the most vulnerable people that I have ever met. Mostly seniors with significant disabilities, physical and mental, who are literally being told right now that they're going to be homeless and by fall of next year with no one holding their hand and helping them get on wait list for any of the affordable housing or permanent supportive housing lists. There's no priority for them. That is a horrible, horrible situation. The people that I know, if they get put out on the streets, they are going to die, or they're going to end up using absolutely enormous amounts of resources from our emergency 911, police, fire. They're going to end up being rooted into behavioral health systems just out of the despair and trauma of the situation, where they could live safely and independently with their mental health intact if they were, being prioritized and handheld with options. So that's something that I think we could make a huge difference on for, I don't even know how many households there are, but I believe it's thousands. But we could get a more accurate number on that for the county. And then another immediate issue I feel like we could address is that there is not any kind of ADA interactive plan. And I know this is part of a larger measure we've been discussing with aging and independent services, and behavioral health, but with housing, if you have a county caseworker, or if you have a county contracted caseworker for housing support, there is no ADA interactive process, and people lose their housing very quickly because of that. And when it comes to annual recertifications, the paperwork is extremely lengthy. It's very confusing. And if you don't get that paperwork in, you lose your voucher, your housing. So yeah, those are two like immediate issues that I think would make a huge difference in a lot of very vulnerable people with disabilities' lives. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, what I did here was, first of all, prioritizing and finding out what is that immediate resource they may need once that voucher is terminated. And I do agree also there will be needing mental health counseling. I mean, if they can't get something immediately, they're going to need some type of counseling, someone to be there to listen, to talk to them, to let them, even if it's back to the learned experience where someone that has been in those type of situations, because again, if we can't find something to get them there, what we need to do is be there. That's what I'm thinking. So as we're grinding down.
I
Yeah.
I concur, and I'm thinking, I believe that for me, it's we could work on both, because one, it's more in a lot of ways to me a case management system problem, not a housing problem. It's a support problem, lack of. I would like to know how many people are on the wait list. Those wait lists notoriously have been 5 to 10 years long. You know that. And people die on the wait list. So literally, if I would advocate for bumping somebody off who's losing, which is horrible, it's all horrible, I get that. But how does that, I mean, we we just have to, we don't have to know the how, we have to know what. And so if we can find out how many are on wait lists, I don't know who has that. Because there's Section 8 and then there's HUD and there's all those different categories, but I, that's who we're talking about. That's who needs affordable, accessible housing.
Just curious, how do you want to make this? I think like affordable and accessible, like crisis or short term and long term, and then uh, whatever and then case management. Those it seems like. How do you want to wrap it up?
So, so four things can be true at the same time, right? All these four things may be in individual wheelhouses. So I'm never an advocate of saying we're going to do this only, and then these are the things. So what we can do is take the four and replace what we had or fill in our framework and backfill these ideas, right? And then work on those. Correct. Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, I think
Carolyn,
that's the way to do it so that, and this is the whole point of how I like to do it, right? Tell me what grinds the gears. We adjust the document. It's a living document. It's just the framework so that we actually get things moving forward and not talking about it for 6 years. Yeah, okay. So if
Carolyn, this is
everybody's good with
Jessica.
that, we can make some, oh, sorry, Jess.
Hey, yeah, I just noticed with the way the emergency services priority has been going with getting Nick and how many times he's come to our meetings, how many back and forths we've had. It's been the most interactive, effective connection for our work that we've had yet. And so I really want to elevate that as a model. If we can duplicate that in any way with the county housing authority or relevant partners where we really have that back and forth engagement and involvement, that would be I think really effective.
Yeah, that's who we need to get. We need to get in those four kind of new or developing subcategories who, right? I think you said what, right? But in order to get the what, we need to have it from the who. So we need to drill down, who do we want to come talk? And the one thing I want to completely reemphasize is when you have somebody come and present, please remind them that's great and awesome. They're going to tell us all the awesome things about their org or their job and whatnot. We have to know what the problem is. We already know what it is. We need them to say what it is so that when they present, it gives us an honest view, and then that's where recommendations come out of. So if you have somebody in mind for any of these ideas, make sure you preface it with, please come with what the gap is so we can help fill that gap.
It reminds me too, like a entrepreneurship book I read once. Basically, like, we might want to advocate for something that's meaningful, but also trying to like detach from that and see what the actual issue is and try and solve that, even if it's not something we had in mind, like initially. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Be flexible.
we can think we're, the subject matter experts on it, but then if we get the actual person to come in, we're like, oh, glad I didn't say that out loud because it's already done and already somebody looking into it and they already know. So there's no reason to put a recommendation out where it's the board's going to look at it and be like, yeah, we know. Right? And we also, we do want to make timely recommendations, but we want to make sure we're making them with as much info as we can and updated info. Right? So that's always my goal. And I hate to do this, but we're going to have to table. I need to, parking fees for persons with disabilities. Most of these things have to unfortunately be tabled. We are going to table agenda item number 8, if everybody's okay with that, and in time, committee business. Officer elections, if you are interested in chair, vice chair, and secretary, I will be done. It will be my time to go, and one of you fabulous folks will fill my spot and maybe even fill your spot, maybe even fill your spot. If you're interested in running, please consider it. It's a little bit thankless, but it elevates your voice and your activism in your little wheelhouse. So please consider nominating yourself or somebody. Please make sure you ask the person ahead of time because they may not be interested.
Are planning, the elections are scheduled for January. Are there any nominations?
Yeah, I'd like to make a nomination of chair for Laura and vice chair for Brandon. Brennan. I think you two would make a dynamic team. And not excluding anybody, but some of us are termed out, so we can't vote for those.
Can I
folks.
go ahead? I'm not sure about the process procedurally here. Do we?
We're not
just-
voting until
Yeah, so
January.
we're just, I
Just
can talk.
taking noms.
So I appreciate that. Lovely. Would love to work with you. However, I would like to nominate Jeanette as chair, and I would love to stay as vice chair and nominate myself if
You
okay.
got termed out for chair.
I second that, Jessica.
Okay. And Laura and I have actually talked about this many times, and I told her, no, I think she's termed out. No, she's termed out as vice chair. So yes, I would totally like to.
It's already been nominated. She's already,
Okay.
yeah. So we've got,
I'm gonna ask.
Katie, would you, state what the nominations are so far? And then go ahead, Sue, if you want to.
I would like to nominate somebody else as secretary. I don't want to have it open.
Yes.
I'm not going to do it anymore, effective January.
Good. Can I
have a name of the nomination? I didn't, it's.
Can I have some clarity on, Sue, what your role has been?
being awesome?
Obviously.
I'm sorry, Jessica, I missed that question.
She wants to know the role as secretary.
You have to write letters. You have to get online and type letters for the chairperson to sign and send out.
And you have to review documents. You have to do.
Yeah.
It's a very heavy role.
Typing. Typing, computer accountability on the paper side.
Yeah.
And a computer.
And we had to
And a printer.
take some of those things out so that we can actually get somebody to fill it. So you have been fantastic, by the way. When that role comes back active, I hope that I think the actual description is in our bylaws. So please read the bylaws, and if you would like to consider being any one of those spots, we are going to, in my opinion, reactivate the whole breadth of the secretary position. Not that you didn't, but I think it's a great opportunity for us to have somebody who is a little wizard and.
We don't understand what that is.
It's
note taking.
Fast typer, which is
well,
you.
I would like to nominate. I would like to keep Laura as vice chair because you can serve up to 2 years.
So your nomination is Laura as vice chair. I think she's already been nominated as vice chair.
Good. Yeah. Because I nominated her as chair, and then I thought you were termed out, so I.
So I think that leaves Brennan as secretary.
Brandon
said he's too busy already.
Yeah, I work for 3 other agencies, like, job. I'm still in the learning process.
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm
Yeah.
learning a lot, so I'm very privileged. I feel very privileged, but I will put the hands to the plow, though.
Yeah.
Is there only chair, vice chair?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so nominations, it sounds like so far we have Jeanette as chair. You would be amazing. Laura as vice chair and Brennan as secretary.
We also have Laura as chair.
Oh, Laura, can I take that back? I mean, she doesn't. No.
We're Could you repeat the nominations that are available?
Good luck.
So far for chair, nominations are Laura and Jeanette. For vice chair is Laura and, I'm sorry, are Laura and Ben.
Closing.
No nominations yet for secretary.
I nominate Brennan for secretary.
Did.
Oh, yeah, I think that was
Sue.
the nomination that Sue made, right?
Okay. So everybody, please remember this, that this is just the opening dialogue of it. When it comes to January, if you have changed your mind, improved your mind at all, you can still add yourself or somebody in January. This is just opening the dialogue. And then when January comes, we'll make an announcement of, hey, is there anybody else? And then so this is not the stamp. This is the hey.
Are there any more nominations for,
He has to ask 2 more times.
well, you actually can ask.
Well,
I know, but I like when you do it.
Go ahead.
Okay, do we have any more nominations? I'll start at chair. Hold fire.
No, Brendan
Hold-
saying maybe chair.
I need to learn what the duties are.
No. If you feel, hold on, let's do this. If you feel it, then if you would like to self-nominate, by all means. Again, this will sauce itself out in January.
Self-nominate myself for chair.
Outstanding. So last and final, are there any nominations for chair? She's already been nominated. Okay. Going once, going twice, that was 3, right? Okay, so for now, nominations for chair has been closed. Nominations for vice chair. We have Laura and Brennan. Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
Sue is still on the board, right? On the committee. Yeah.
I could be a kick butt vice
Yeah,
chair.
you would.
Okay, so nominate yourself.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
No, you have to say it officially in that little speakery
My
thing.
name in the hat for vice chair.
I'll second that.
No,
I'll second
No,
that.
no seconds. No. Any other nominations for vice chair? Second call. Any other nominations for vice chair? Third and final call. All right. Nominations for secretary. We have Brennan and we have,
I'm gonna nominate Julie. She's not here, but I'm gonna nominate her.
we want somebody who's here.
She doesn't have to be here to be nominated.
but it's so much
So we've got the nomination.
Okay, Julie. Okay, are there any second round, any nominations for secretary? Second. Third and final, do we have any additional nominations for secretary?
Now, who's been nominated so far?
So Secretary Brennan and Julie.
And Julie, okay.
Yeah. All right.
So no Laura. Laura hasn't been nominated.
No, she got everything else but secretary, which she should be secretary because she's over there going. Tick, 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 tick. Okay, Laura. Oh, well, it was third and final, so technically it was closed.
Should be a good
But
secretary.
I will say that in January, then you could do that again, right? So nominations are closed for December. Again, don't freak out. In January, you have time to consume, go to the bylaws, check out what your roles and responsibilities may be.
Chair, I don't think they're listed in our bylaws unless when I'm looking at the bylaws.
There's a short version.
There's a short version of
Or is it in there somewhere? I just don't see it if this is what I'm.
Okay, we'll take this off topic, offline, because we have about 1 second and we have a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay, are we doing future agenda?
Hold on.
For future agenda.
Hold, I need to get to future agenda. Okay. So, we have,
Actually, future meeting structure, there's one question about room. So the meeting room, we can either meet here or in 306A, the smaller room. So I wanted to get input from the committee so that we can schedule the room for next year.
For January. Okay.
Well,
Anybody?
all of next year.
Okay.
Yeah, I have an opinion on that. If we're gonna have multiple service dogs at our meetings, that might weigh into whether we want to be, are we talking about the very small conference room?
Yes.
Yeah, just considering that we might have multiple service dogs.
Jessica, I would say my dog doesn't need to come, and like he's coming right now. And so just if people really like the smaller room, I don't want that to be a reason. So like my dog's coming right now because Jessica's not coming. So then we would maybe switch. And so when Jessica's coming in person,
Yeah, but I don't want you.
it's okay though. But I'm just saying, this is
Okay.
me saying this. I would not say that if that was not okay.
Okay.
Um,
Just want to put that on record that we
Yeah.
want all service animals to attend
It just,
because
Yeah.
absolutely. But there's benefits to this room, that being one of them. There's benefits to the other room, that being like Jessica, for you, I'm sure it was much nicer when we were in the smaller room to be able to see us and interact.
Yeah, it
Looking
was
at
from
you,
a
I know that's
Zoom.
not helpful.
It was from a Zoom perspective, but from a space perspective, with being immune compromised, when I'm back in person, honestly, I think I would prefer having the space. That's just how I feel about it, but I'm open to whatever.
Do you half and half?
well, the real question is, are you in, and you don't have to tell me, but in January, February, are you in person?
No, I won't be in person until March.
Okay, so then we don't have to have an answer until March. So, whatever room.
You need to schedule January,
Yeah,
February, right?
so
I'm not a
this
huge
room is,
fan of
go ahead.
the smaller room.
Yeah, I don't really care
I
for the
think
small.
when you have 3 or 4 people
No.
coming to present, or if you want to offer the occasional person who comes in to make a public comment in person, I think it's awfully small if you get more than just the committee in there.
This room is not available every month, so we can go with what we've had, where this room will be the primary and then 306 can be the backup. And
Okay.
we'll let you know which month.
I concur.
Perfect. Okay, Jessica, did you have a future agenda? Let's do this real quick because we're over time.
Yes, thank you. So I would like for us in the new year to address the bylaws with our newest members and review them and make, if needed, adjustments, amendments, or whatever you call it.
Okay. Anything else, anybody?
I'd like to
Brennan.
add if we can say that chat maybe or try and review whatever that woman gave in public comment. Sounded like, I don't know, worthwhile reviewing, seeing if
Yep.
there's something we could do.
Yep.
Can we save that
I'm sure
chat?
Katie has that down.
Not save, maybe.
Okay, anybody else?
Thank you, Katie.
So we're gonna go down the line. You got anything for us? Brennan? Okay, we are so over time. Want to say Merry Christmas. Have a safe New Year. Do not drink and drive. Have a great time. This meeting is adjourned. Look for it next year.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Were you going to turn that last music back on? Trying to get rid of it really fast.